So we did get the news yesterday that Kyrie Irving is going to stay with the Nets, at least for right now. He opted into his $37 million player option and had a really interesting quote. Shams Charania reported this of The Athletic and Stadium, and Kyrie said, "Normal people keep the world going, but those who dare to be different lead us into tomorrow. I've made my decision to opt in. See you in the fall." Also, per Shams of The Athletic and the Stadium, Shams Charania, the Nets declined an offer from Irving's camp of a short-term contract extension that included a player option, and the Nets also made proposals that included a 2-year max with incentives based on games played and a 4-year max with the first 2 years guaranteed and triggers that would kick in on games played in years 1 and 2. Now, that's obviously a very unique situation, and that exists because Kyrie played in 29 regular season games this season and 4 postseason games, 4 being that they got swept in the first round, the only team to be swept in the first rounds, while they were also favored to win the championship going into the season. The other interesting thing that happened that we found out is from Brian Windhorst, who reported, "I was told the option pickup came as a total surprise to the Nets that they found out when everybody did." Meaning the Nets got the news that Kyrie was opting in when they read that strange, inexplicable quote from Kyrie Irving about normal people and those who dare to move the world along, or whatever it was. I don't want to misquote it. What is it? "Normal people keep the world going, but those who dare to be different lead us into tomorrow." So the Nets read that and found out that Kyrie Irving was opting into his player option at the same time that everybody else did. Well, we can't get mad at organizations for letting guys find out about their future on the scroll, which I very much disagree with, but then give players a pass when they don't communicate with organizations in the same way. So we got to keep that same energy. There's obviously a lot going on here with the Nets. There's obviously some communication issues. Kevin Durant has talked about how he felt like the front office didn't take the time to really understand Kyrie. KD has reportedly not talked to the front office. He's staying out of this negotiation. Kyrie is clearly not on the same page as the front office if he is allowing announcements about his future with the team to be put out on Twitter and not communicating with them directly about what his choice is. Kyrie's been doing this for about 5 years now. When someone lets you know who they are, believe them. I decided to lean into this in my life years ago. I used to be very impatient with people in my life. I used to get very frustrated when they didn't do what I asked or do what I expected of them or do what I projected for them, or if they weren't living up to this idea of what I thought they should be doing with their life, or if they just continuously did things around me that I didn't like or appreciate, but they were always doing it. And then I was always around them. So at one point or another, I had to realize this is who they are. And my expectations of people does not dictate how they behave, especially when I don't have any agreement with them about how they're supposed to behave. So how Kyrie handles his career doesn't bother me. That's his choice. He has lots of choices, and he has made them over and over and over again. He's been doing this for a while. But the issue when you're involved with a team scenario is that it affects other people. And unlike, a friendship or a relationship or a work scenario or a family member, there's not really like an agreement, unless you are getting paid, to live up to the expectations. And with Kyrie, there is an agreement. There's a contract. There are games that need to be played. There are teammates that need to be helped. There are games that need to be won. There is chemistry that needs to be built. And of course, you're receiving millions of dollars to do that. If you're a golfer, if you're a tennis player, if you're an Olympic athlete that plays an individual sport, have at it. You can do whatever it is that you like. It's only affecting you, obviously, and the people around you, but you're not in a team situation. What I don't understand with Kyrie is it's become very obvious at this point that he is going to do what he wants to do, which is fine. But with people who continuously do these things, there's always this energy that, well, I'm my own person. I'm different. I should be allowed to feel this way and think this way and handle my career this way and do these things. And you are. You're free to do that. It's the same conversation that people get into with this free speech stuff. I should be allowed to have my own opinion and think and say what I want. Well, yeah, you are free to do that. You're free to handle your career how you want to. You're free to behave however it is you choose. And people are free to react to those decisions and those actions and those words. It's not just what about you want, what you want to say, what you want to do. People are allowed to react to that as well. And it's not always going to be positive, and they're not always going to agree with you. And that's what's so great about being free. You're free to do what you want to do, and so am I. So if I don't like what you're doing, I'm free to say I don't like what you're doing, that I don't agree with you, and I'm free to move accordingly based off of your actions and words. And that's what the Nets did. And once again, Kyrie did what he does, which is make an announcement on Twitter and not let the Nets know, which at this point should not surprise anyone. I don't think that Kyrie is a bad person. I don't have any negative feelings towards Kyrie. I like watching him play basketball. I think he's great when he's on the court. But at this point, this is who he is. And this is why, even though they're running it back, I don't know that I can have them as a contender as much as I believe in and love Kevin Durant. He's right. There is no one on this team that's going to do that. Kevin Durant could, but he has many times chosen not to fill that role. And I feel like that's his prerogative at this point. He is a two-time champion, two-time finals MVP, league MVP. I don't need to run down Kevin Durant's resume. But there's no culture in Brooklyn. There's no one to point to. This is essentially running it back the same as it was last year, only you have a less reliable player in Ben Simmons. So I just can't keep buying into it. I've seen what it is, and nothing has changed. And I can't rely on Kyrie Irving, and clearly neither can the Nets, since they're finding out in weird quotes on the internet, just like the rest of us, what Kyrie is going to do with his future. Now, let's go to our coast, to Kevin Durant's former team, where the champions preside. And Draymond Green has lots of thoughts on everything that's going on with his team and his championship, as he should. 3 of the next 4 NBA championships. That was the Old Man and the 3 podcasts with the Draymond Green Show, The Volume. I have no problem with it. I don't. They're our current dynasty. They've won 4 of the last 8. If they win one more in the next 2 years, they'll have won half of the championships in the last decade. I feel like that math is correct. They're favorites to win it next year, according to Fox Bet. They're bringing back that same core, which is why they're a dynasty to begin with. They've made great decisions. They develop players. They have an owner that will spend whatever it takes to keep everyone together and keep this rolling. What is there to question? Now, I don't think that they will win 3 of the next 4, but I absolutely think they'll win another championship with this core group. And why would I doubt that they would win multiple? Look, if you hate Golden State at this point, I'm sorry. That's a rough life for you. My sympathies, but you might just want to enjoy this run. You might just want to at least respect this run that Golden State is on. Draymond is completely within his right to talk about his team the way he is. 3 of the next 4. I don't know if I see 3 of the next 4, but they should definitely get the respect of being the favorites next year and that they will win another championship. They are the dynasty. When you're the big dogs, you get to brag. That's how it works. They're the champions. They're the big winners. They're the ones that overcame all the talk about how they'll never win again without Kevin Durant, even though everyone says that they didn't need Kevin Durant to win those championships. So I really can't keep up with what the narrative is supposed to be. However, they are a dynasty, and Draymond can keep talking about how many championships they're going to win, and everyone should respect them as contenders and the top of the league until they prove that they're not anymore. And then if you look around the West, who is really ready to contend with Golden State in the West? The Lakers? The Suns? I think we know what the Suns are at this point. They are a great regular season team. They'll be losing Ayton. Chris Paul's a year older. Clippers have to stay healthy. I know I love the Clippers, but they do have to stay healthy. Who else matches up with them? You have the Mavs are still, I think, a piece away. I don't know if they can compete with them defensively. The Grizzlies are still young. They probably need one more star. Again, I don't know if they'll win 3 of the next 4, but one more, multiple, why not? Clay will be stronger, healthier. They've proven time and time again they can retool and rebuild and add pieces. Their bench was incredible in the postseason. I'm okay with it. People are going to freak out when they hear it, but at the end of the day, they're on the top of the mountain. You got to knock them off. And it's been really difficult over the last 8 years to do that. Pretty much the only time it has happened is when they have been injured, which if they're healthy next year, they should absolutely be the favorites to win the championship.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from The Herd or go watch a few segments from other shows on FS1.